Thank you for joining us this Memorial Day Monday. I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, veterans, their loved ones, and community members all gathered in Mount Hope Cemetery to remember the 246 Maine lives lost during the Korean War. Our Doug Banks takes us to the State of Maine Korean War Memorial in Bangor.
They've asked me to speak and talk about a little bit about the Korean War and what I remember and will never forget.
Since July 29th, 1995, the State of Maine Korean War Memorial has been proudly displayed in the center of Bangor's Mount Hope Cemetery. On Monday, veterans and members of the public honored 246 Maine lives. Veterans shared stories of their time between 1950 and 1953.
Looking back in the past, and you think of all the wars that we've seen in this country, and I remember my father, who was in First World War I, and served on the battleship New York. And then along come World War II, and my brother was on an aircraft carrier in the Pacific. And now here I am. Been in the Korean War, so it's something you never forget.
While the names of the fallen were read aloud, Cameron looked ahead, hoping veterans of the Korean War will come together.
Veterans of this Korean War are getting along in age, and I would hope that all the men that have been in Korea since and still are there, and we call it the Defense of Korea, I'm in hopes they might join this organization that we have and keep it going.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, today, Senator Susan Collins says it's our duty as Americans to honor those who have served. She delivered the keynote address at the Southern Maine Memorial Veterans Ceremony this afternoon in Springvale. Here's some of what she had to say today.
We have an obligation to always respect, thank, and support those who make that view possible. May God bless our heroes, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Meanwhile, community members here gathered at the Coal Land Transportation Museum during their annual Memorial Day service. Each year, the museum holds a service to honor Maine veterans, both past and present. This year, the memorial featured a color guard presentation from the Herman High School JROTC and a keynote speech from Brigadier General Diane Dunn of the Maine National Guard. Organizers say it is vital we continue to acknowledge why we gather on this day.
So it's important for us to remember that it's not just barbecues and cookouts, that there's a reason we have a Memorial Day, and that there's a reason that we have the freedoms and we're able to have the customs that we have. And it's because of those men and women that gave their lives for our country.
Even on a rainy day, it's important to see all of our community members that were lining the streets of Bangor for the parade, and now here with a parking lot that's overflowing for people that are here, and understand that the importance of those that made that sacrifice.
Well, 3,168 flags were placed outside the museum, each representing a military member from Maine who was killed during World War II, Korea, or the Vietnam War. The ceremony concluded with a wreath laying at each memorial site presented by veterans who served in those wars. To learn more about the museum, you can visit their website at coalmuseum.org. Well, in Bangor, the Memorial Day Parade is organized each year by members of the Bangor ROTC program. Our Grace Blanchard takes us downtown for that celebration.
Hundreds lined the streets of downtown Bangor, waving their flags and thanking those who served as the annual Memorial Day Parade kicked off on Exchange Street.
We've been doing this for a number of years, and folks are lined up in spite of some of the clouds here above us. It's a good way to recognize our veterans and those who have served over the weekend and enjoy the holiday.
Leading the way were members of the Greater Bangor Marine Corps League with the Color Guard presentation.
As long as the legs keep working, I'll keep doing it. This is a nice occasion, a day to remember service people.
For some, this is their first time at the parade.
Happy Memorial Day!
But for others, the event has become a tradition.
We came to the parade. We come every year, and we always stand right here.
The parade was organized by the Bangor ROTC program and concluded with a ceremony at Davenport Park, reminding community members of the true reason behind the holiday.
So we think of Memorial Day as sort of the official kickoff to summer, right? So the families are starting to break out the grills, we're having fun out in the lawn, we're having a good time. And it's easy to forget why we have all those freedoms. And we take today to remember the men and women who gave us the ability to enjoy these days like today.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And Newport's Memorial Day Parade was going to happen rain or shine, according to one organizer, and they stayed true to their word. Members of American Legion Post 105, along with Troop and Pack 63 and local first responders, all made their way down Main Street. With music by Nokomis Regional Middle School, the parade marched to the town's Veterans Memorial for a wreath-laying ceremony, a gun salute, and also a ceremony to honor Sergeant Donald Skidgel, a Medal of Honor recipient who died in Vietnam.
We need to represent our people, our townsfolk, the place where our veterans came from. And this is our way to give back a little bit and to let them show us their pride that they can't show us every day.
Post 105 would also like people to know about their new Hometown Hero banners displayed throughout Newport. The banners represent honorably discharged local veterans who've passed away. The banners will be up until just after Veterans Day. To learn more, you can visit our website, foxbangor.com. So Mother Nature not entirely cooperative today, but it wasn't a washout, thankfully. Let's go ahead and get a first check of our forecast.
Thank you so much, Beth. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Acres Away Real Estate, located at 309 West Broadway in Lincoln. Call Alan, Bobby Lynn, or Kara to help guide you through the buying or selling process. 794-2700. And a little bit more rain finally back in the area. This is just the beginning of what is to come. We're talking a lot more rain the next 24 hours, and then things will start to finally calm down. Visibility-wise, though, here in town, not bad. Right at the coast, not bad as well. But then you go just west of town, look at this, Augusta, Portland, you are looking at very, very limited visibilities. Of course, small craft advisories are in effect till around 8 p.m. on Tuesday, right at the coast. If you are out and about, please be careful. Overnight, though, we are continuing to look at some scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two. Temperatures in those upper 50s.
All right, Conrad, thank you. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, our Jody Horsey highlights this year's recipient of the 2024 Women-Owned Business of the Year. And visitors got a chance to pay their respects at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Arlington. Those stories and more local news when we come back.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
Feeling from a backed up gut? Miralax works naturally with the water in your body to help you go. Free your gut and your mood will follow. For 8 grams of fiber, try Mirror Fiber Gummies.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do. Day in and day out. Making milk you can trust, with no artificial growth hormones. And we protect Hood milk with our Light Block bottle. We care about our milk because we know how much you care about what you give your family. So you can feel good about Hood.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can start your summer with a splash. Nailed it.
You could get 1.99% financing on most Tundra hybrid and gas models. Toyota, let's go places.
Jamie Foxx is back.
Season 7. Our contestants have won over $10 million.
An all-new season of Beat Shazam premieres May 28th on Fox.
I have a new show on Fox. It is called Quiz with Balls. Families could win lots of cash, and they could make a splash. Big old balls.
The Quiz with Balls series premiere Tuesday, May 28th on Fox.
Firefighters from 9 communities spent hours battling flames at a business in Chelsea Sunday afternoon. That blaze destroyed a warehouse and multiple pre-built sheds. Our Grace Blanchard was on scene there.
A warehouse at a business in Chelsea was completely destroyed after going up in flames. This footage shot by a Chelsea resident captures the shocking moment an apparent explosion went off as crews raced to the scene.
I stood out on my deck and looked to my right, and I saw the big, huge plume of smoke from over next door to us and realized that one of their buildings was on fire.
Multiple crews responded to the business New England Rent to Own along the River Road around 1 p.m. According to the Chelsea fire chief, the building that caught fire was being used to build storage sheds. The chief says nobody was injured or inside the building at the time, but the warehouse and all the materials inside have been lost.
I don't think they know how it started, but the boom that I heard was an explosion. They think that it was a combination of the propane tank from the forklift truck that was in the building and some batteries that they used to operate drills and stuff, because they had like 20 or 30 of them in there.
The official cause of the fire is unknown as the fire marshal's office is still investigating. The co-owner of a car detail shop right down the road spoke with the owners and says they are in shock.
They seem to be feeling kind of, I think, a little in shock, and then relief that both buildings didn't go. And then just kind of concentrating on where to go from here and how to get things back up and going again for them.
In Chelsea, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
An additional note there that the fire marshal's office told us they don't expect to have any new information on that fire until tomorrow. Well, switching gears now, Tiller and Rye in Brewer has been open for 9 years now. This local grocery store carries food and products from area farms and producers, which is something the owners wanted to do from day one. As Jody Hersey tells us, supplying shoppers with Maine-made items is just one of the many reasons this company was named the 2024 Women-Owned Business of the Year.
It's kind of humbling, you know, we don't make a product, we didn't innovate anything. We just sell the brilliance of other Maine producers.
Sarah Morneau and Lindsay Levesque are the co-owners of Tiller and Rye, the Maine Small Business Administration's 2024 Women-Owned Business of the Year, something the duo never imagined when they opened their company in Brewer on April Fool's Day in 2015.
Lindsay and I each had 2 children within the time of opening this, and our general manager had 2 children. So all the kids grew up here in the office in pack and plays and running around the aisles. So they definitely have witnessed work, but also how work and family life can balance.
The SBA's Maine District Director, Diane Sturgeon, says the owner's work-life balance made Tiller and Rye stand out among the other nominees.
I'll tell you, the women-owned business category in Maine is probably one of the most challenging and competitive categories because we have so many great female-owned businesses. And Tiller and Rye really stood out because they have figured out the way to kind of balance not only their business, but their lives.
Promoting other small businesses and encouraging customers to buy and shop locally also helped Morneau and Levesque leave a lasting impression with the Maine SBA.
And we just get to be the middleman. We get to see the expression on our customers' faces when they are buying something where we know where it came from and we know how excited that producer will be to have their products sold.
In Brewer, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And congratulations to them for that award. Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, after the last volley of missile fire by Israeli forces, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated it was a tragic mistake. And tensions continue to strain between the U.S. and China. This follows as U.S. lawmakers visit Taiwan. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
The perfectly melted cheese, the juicier patty, the golden bun. It's all here. Rubble, rubble. Well, it was a second ago.
Now that's a steal. Grab a triple cheeseburger for just $2.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Lowe's knows there's nothing like the thrill of finding the best deal. That's why we've got Doorbusters this Memorial Day, happening now while supplies last. Shop Memorial Day Doorbusters before they're gone.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like.
Exactly, and unsweetened has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium. Wow, Planet Oat really has it all.
You guys are so right.
No, you are.
No, you are.
No, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snow blowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
This is MasterChef Generation. Gen Z, Millennial, Generation X, Baby Boomers. I love the Gen Z approach in this dish. Pacemaker, okay?
MasterChef Generations, season premiere this Wednesday on Fox.
If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Kick your morning routine into high gear with any sized iced coffee for just $1.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
If you've been injured, call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Welcome back. Visitors paid their respects and rested flowers at the tomb of the unknown soldier for Flowers of Remembrance Day on Sunday. The event kicked off with an Arlington National Cemetery historian offering remarks on the history of the holiday. The first Remembrance Day took place in 2022. The day gives the public a chance to walk on the plaza in front of the tomb of the unknown soldier, which is a modern tradition historians conceptualized to further celebrate Memorial Day. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a, quote, tragic mistake was made after an Israeli strike targeting 2 Hamas leaders in the southern Gaza city of Rafah set fire to a tent camp housing displaced Palestinians, killing dozens of them. Fox's Trey Yingst has the latest from Tel Aviv.
A civilian car drives slowly through the streets of Rafah. It's a makeshift hearse for the bodies of Palestinian civilians.
Which humanity is this? Where is the world? Where is the nation?
Overnight, Israel launched airstrikes against Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah, targeting 2 senior Hamas militants. In the process, they reportedly killed dozens of civilians who were sheltering in tents. The Israeli military, facing international condemnation, has opened a rare probe into the incident.
The details of yesterday's incident are still under an investigation, which we are committed to conducting to the fullest extent. The IDF regrets any harm to non-combatants during this war.
The United States is weighing in on the strikes, calling on Israel to use restraint, with the Biden administration's National Security Council saying in a statement, quote, The devastating images following an IDF strike in Rafah last night that killed dozens of innocent Palestinians are heartbreaking. Amid clear disagreements between President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about how to proceed with the war in Gaza, the Israeli leader saying this about the incident overnight.
Despite our utmost efforts not to harm non-combatants, last night there was a tragic failure.
As the war in Gaza approaches the 8-month mark, indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas are set to resume this week. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
More than 3 years after President Biden announced the United States would pull all of its troops out of Afghanistan, thousands of Afghans who helped our military during the war are still living with targets on their backs. Congress recently approved more visas for Afghan allies to come to the U.S. Fox's Rebecca Castor reports.
Nearly 3 years ago, U.S. troops in Afghanistan were packing up to go home and put an end to the nation's longest war when the withdrawal turned to chaos with an attack at the airport in Kabul as thousands of Afghans tried to escape from the resurging Taliban rule.
Everything was changed dramatically in one night, and it was very hard for me. Every night I saw nightmares.
The danger was even worse for Afghans like Hamid Momand, who helped U.S. soldiers during the war.
I was running from one safe house to another safe house. My phone was switched off. I changed my phone numbers. I didn't tell to any our friend as well because I didn't trust even the friend and relative.
Today, Hamid and his wife live in Maryland after being approved for a special immigrant visa, or SIV, a pathway to legal residence in the U.S. for Afghans with ties to the U.S. military.
When somebody believes in the idea of America and they stand up for democracy, and we tell them they're going to be able to come here, we got to follow through on that promise.
Since 2009, nearly 120,000 SIVs have been awarded to Afghans, and Congress recently agreed to make an additional 12,000 available through the end of 2025. But advocates say that falls short of the amount needed.
We probably need another 30 to 50,000 visas. Based on how many people have applied, how many people we think served alongside us.
Hamid is waiting for his own two brothers who also helped U.S. soldiers to be approved for visas. But in the meantime, he's looking ahead.
I'm very hopeful for the future because of the opportunity in the U.S. If you do hard work, you will have a good future.
For years, there's been bipartisan support on Capitol Hill for the SIV program. But with immigration a hot-button issue this election year, there are concerns lawmakers will shy away from pushing more legislation to support Afghans. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Meanwhile, U.S. lawmakers visiting Taiwan are vowing to bolster the self-governing island's defenses against China. Their visit comes just days after Beijing surrounded Taiwan with massive military exercises. The Chinese government is expressing strong opposition to the congressional visit. Fox's senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott now with that story.
Just days after the Chinese military staged a massive mock invasion of Taiwan, a bipartisan congressional delegation visited the island despite Beijing's opposition. It was led by House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCall with a message to President Xi Jinping of China, which claims Taiwan as its own.
We just need to do everything we can to make it possible for him to see that the risk outweighs the reward, that the risk is just too high.
It was the first U.S. visit to Taiwan since the inauguration last week of its new president, Lai Ching-te, who was grateful to hear of sped-up U.S. military support. A new bill including aid for the self-governed island was passed by Congress last month.
Everyone here is an important force in friendship with Taiwan to help Taiwan strengthen its self-defense capabilities.
Beijing not only conducting war games, which include fighter jets equipped with live missiles, but also launching political attacks on the U.S., saying actions like the congressional visit defy Washington's one China policy.
China is firmly opposed to this and will take measures to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity.
While Washington is bound to provide Taiwan with a means to defend itself, the Biden administration remains ambiguous whether troops would be dispatched if China attacks. Another message from the U.S. lawmakers today: whoever wins this year's presidential race will have Taiwan's back.
The United States is fully and completely committed to deterrence, to supporting Taiwan militarily, diplomatically, and economically.
That commitment, perhaps a good thing. Just in the past 24 hours,
21 Chinese military aircraft and 11 ships have been spotted operating near Taiwan. Dangerous waters. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
In other news tonight, a new blood test that would serve as an alternative to the invasive screenings for colon and rectal cancer is moving one step closer to being reviewed by the FDA. A California-based biotechnology company has applied for FDA approval of its blood test that screens for early signs of colorectal cancer. An advisory committee within the FDA meeting Thursday to vote on whether they feel the test is effective and safe. The majority of the votes gave positive results for the test. It is set to be reviewed by the FDA next. They will take the committee's vote into account, but do not have to follow their advice on approval. If approved, however, it will be the first blood test accepted for colorectal cancer screening. Current screenings include a stool-based test or various colonoscopies. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, severe weather still active, recent storms having decimated some of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kentucky. And Winterport Little League hosting their annual Memorial Day celebration, how this year may have been the biggest and best yet. We'll be right back.
The teams are set for a food truck fight.
You're desperate to win, aren't you?
That spins out of control.
This is not what I signed up for.
Food Stars, all new Wednesday at 9/8 Central on Fox.
Your first car, your first edition, and your first edition. We're here to help with all of life's firsts. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
It's the Ford SUV season sales event, and time for great offers across the entire lineup of Ford SUVs, including the Build Wild Ford Bronco and Bronco Sport. Ready to take your adventure to a whole new level. Check out the exciting Bronco lineup today. This is Ford SUV season. Let's get going.
Now lease a Ford Bronco Sport for $329 a month for 24 months. In stock, only at your New England Ford dealer.
The Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub is world-renowned for beautiful dining with a delicious view, featuring award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. It's a true destination dining experience. Relax and unwind in an intimate space with your loved ones, family, and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table on the deck, whether it's a special occasion or any occasion. The Lucerne Inn is the perfect choice for your business or family gathering.
At Hood, our love for New England inspired New England Creamery. We make it with premium Hood milk and cream, then we overload it with the good stuff. Like Green Mountain Mint Chip with a rich fudgy swirl. Maine Sweet Blueberry with real delicious blueberries. And Cape Cod Fudge Shop, packed with fudgy truffles. Hood's New England Creamery. From Hood, for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter. You've lived quite a life. Now it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
California businesses are trying to rein in government spending with a ballot initiative which would make it more difficult for state and local lawmakers to raise taxes. The measure is being challenged in California's Supreme Court by Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom. Fox's William LaJeunesse shows us from Los Angeles.
The Taxpayer Protection Act gives voters the right to approve or reject all new taxes.
California business and taxpayer groups want to stop government overspending. Their ballot proposition would require 2/3 of voters to approve any city or state tax increase.
The Taxpayer Protection Act ensures that all new taxes have broad support from Californians by empowering voters.
But Governor Gavin Newsom, contrary to his so-called campaign for democracy, where he criticized Republicans,
they ignore the will of the people,
now wants the California Supreme Court to deny voters a right to vote on that proposition by preemptively killing it before it goes on the ballot.
This measure constitutes an unlawful revision so that it can't appear on the ballot.
The state argues the proposition would deny government the money it needs, from fixing streets to public safety.
2/3 is a very, very difficult number for any community to be able to achieve.
But supporters say taxpayers are done getting steamrolled by Sacramento.
What we have is essentially a two-way street where the legislative power is shared amongst these two groups, the people on the one hand, the legislature on the other, but that the people have the last word.
The state Supreme Court must rule in the next few weeks. Otherwise, voters in November could send a message. In California, they've had enough.
Our opponents are so scared because they know this has a very high likelihood of passage.
It's rare for courts to intervene before a vote on a proposition that's already qualified for the ballot. Opponents worry, however, if passed, they won't be able to undo the damage they believe it presents to city and state government. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
And on the subject of taxes, the free government tax filing service is coming back for some customers. The Internal Revenue Service says its free file program has been extended through 2029. The IRS says the software was used by about 2.9 million taxpayers as of May 11th. The agency says that is a 7.3% increase compared to the same time last year. Consumers with an adjusted gross income of $79,000 or less are eligible for free file. The agency is also testing a new program called Direct File for taxpayers to file directly through the IRS in 13 states. Well, looking back outdoors, severe weather and deadly tornadoes over Memorial Day weekend, killing nearly 24 people, including several children in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kentucky. Fox weather correspondent Max Gordon has more from Valley View, Texas.
Storms shifting east Monday as millions traveling home on Memorial Day were forced to make their way under severe weather warnings. In Kentucky, the state's governor issuing a statewide emergency declaration, confirming there were several weather-related deaths and that Sunday's severe weather and tornadoes left more than 174,000 without power.
It could be days until power is restored because there was significant damage to the power infrastructure.
Across southern states and into the Great Plains, the deadly storms leaving a trail of destruction, killing nearly 24 people in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas over the holiday weekend.
I thought I was going to die for sure.
North of Fort Worth, tornadoes obliterating homes and vehicles in the tiny farming community of Valley View, Texas.
So we just ran back into the house, got into the bathroom, and I got my stepdad down. He's an older man, and got him down and my son down, and we just made it through it. It's crazy.
At this Shell station, dozens of people sought shelter during the tornado.
I mean, it's just beyond imagination what happened here.
And after a challenging weekend for travelers, meteorologists warn the Northeast big travel hubs could encounter more significant storms into the evening. We could see additional severe thunderstorms here in Texas and into the Great Plains through Tuesday, complicating cleanup efforts. In Valley View, Texas, Max Gordon, Fox News.
Well, childhood drownings are on the rise with the busiest water activity season now upon us. An expert from the National Drowning Prevention Alliance weighs in on what parents need to know to keep children safe this summer. Fox's Connor Hansen has the story.
The swim season is upon us, but before you dive in, it's important to know it's not all fun and games. Drowning is the leading cause of death among children ages 1 to 4 and the second leading cause of injury-related death among children up to age 14, according to the CDC.
It's important for parents to recognize that there's not one single thing that they can do to completely eliminate the risk of drowning.
But there are ways to significantly reduce the risk for your family. The National Drowning Prevention Alliance urging anyone spending time around water this summer to remember the 5 layers of drowning protection: barriers and alarms, making sure homeowners restrict access to water as much as possible, supervision, being in the water or keeping a close eye on swimmers, water competency, getting kids enrolled in swim lessons as early as possible. The American Academy of Pediatrics now recommends kids can start swimming lessons as early as their first birthday. Life jackets, wearing the flotation devices on boats and in lakes and rivers, along with adults modeling good life jacket behavior and emergency preparedness, knowing what to do in an emergency situation.
Talking with your family about these steps can mean the difference from everyone enjoying and having wonderful memories from a day recreating around the water to preventing an unfortunate tragedy.
Drowning rates in the U.S. have increased since 2020, and Adam Kaczmarski, executive director of the Alliance, says that's in part because behaviors have changed since the beginning of the pandemic.
Some people who were used to going to a community pool to recreate with their family maybe installed a backyard pool or maybe are now recreating around natural bodies of water. We're also experiencing a lifeguard and swim instructor shortage in this country.
Before you head to the pool, lake, or beach, Kaczmarski says it's important to know drowning incidents don't look the way they're portrayed in movies and TV.
The reality is it's going to happen quick and silently, and your child's going to be straight up and down in the water. They're going to be submerged. They might have a panicked look on their face, but it can be hard to identify, even for well-trained lifeguards.
Drowning can take just 20 to 60 seconds, making it critical to talk to your kids about water safety in various environments ahead of the summer swim season. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Definitely some timely information there. Alrighty, folks, we'll stick with us because the full 5-day is coming up.
All right, we are looking at more rain back in the forecast. Of course, it is Memorial Day, and we need those travel plans on the way back home. I am tracking a lot more rain back in the forecast. When? I'll have the timing and more coming up.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news, and Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
So, all of us are here to talk about trading. Right now at US Cellular, you can get a new phone without having to trade in your old one.
I'll trade you my PB&J for that phone.
No, kid, you don't have to trade. See? $830 off any phone at US Cellular. No trade-in needed.
You drive a hard bargain. Boom. Chocolate milk.
You don't have to trade.
I'll take the chocolate milk.
Okay.
Get $830 off any phone. No trade-in needed with any unlimited data plan.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news, and Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
I can see your voice!
America's favorite guessing game is back. I Can See Your Voice, Thursdays on Fox.
And welcome back. Happy Memorial Day. Our main weather tonight is brought to you by Big Pine Painting, the #1 family-owned and operated painting company serving Bangor, Belfast, and surrounding areas. For all your paint, drywall, and pressure washing needs, call today for your free estimates. And looking at a lot of rain incoming. In New York City, D.C., you are looking at some showers. That is starting to wind down. And of course, it has to go somewhere, and it's going to go just like that right into our state. So get ready, folks. We are talking talking an abundance amount of rain overnight into the day tomorrow. For now, though, this is just starting to crank up, just starting to turn on and really intensify the next several hours. For now, though, we are looking at just some lighter showers that will be more of a moderate to heavy rainfall overnight. By tomorrow, we are looking at those scattered showers. Other than that, we're going to stay gloomy, of course, overcast as well, and a bit cooler. By Wednesday, much better weather will be back in the forecast. Now, let's talk wind speeds. A little bit more of a breeze right at the coast. So we're talking Bar Harbor, Machias, a little bit of a gusty wind here in town. Same story right up north. We're talking Greenville, Millinocket, a little bit more of a lighter breeze in Millinocket, but in general, most of the state is seeing some pretty gusty winds. Of course, these are sustained winds with wind gusts around 30 plus miles an hour. These gusty winds will be continuing overnight tonight, and then finally by early tomorrow morning, things will slowly start to calm down, wind down, and then by tomorrow afternoon, just a light breeze. Tomorrow night's a little bit more of a breeze, and then by Wednesday, things will significantly start to improve. And we're talking wind speed wise. Now, high temperatures though, we were at around 60 degrees. Our average is right around 69, 70 degrees. Check out the coast though, Bar Harbor, Rockland, Machias. You guys were only in those mid 50s. Of course, that little breeze right off the ocean with water temperatures still in those mid 50s. That is exactly what is going to happen. And it did. No surprises there, right? A little bit of a breeze and the coast a bit cooler. Our average is right around that 69 degree mark. Like I was saying, Tuesday and Wednesday, a little bit warmer, back down slightly below average Thursday and Friday. And then right by next weekend, we are talking temperatures closer to average or even a few degrees above average, especially by Sunday. For tonight, though, we are looking at mild lows back in those mid 50s, slowly rising then into those upper 50s. Scattered showers and some isolated thunderstorms in the area with still some gusty winds. For tomorrow, though, mostly cloudy overall, though. A couple of scattered showers are still going to be lingering. Temperature-wise, though, around 71 degrees. A little bit more calm winds, but still south wind gusting around 25 miles an hour. Our extended forecast outlook does show much better weather for Wednesday. A couple of sprinkles on Thursday. Partly cloudy Friday and Saturday. Temperatures will be back in those 60s and 70s. Beth?
All right, thank you so much. And sports is coming up next, folks. Keep it right here.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
Lybalvi helps us push back against bipolar 1.
Once daily prescription Lybalvi is proven to treat manic or mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults to help you push back. Elderly patients with dementia have increased risk of death or stroke. Do not take Lybalvi if you are taking opioids or are in opioid withdrawal. The samidorphan in Lybalvi can cause severe opioid withdrawal that can lead to hospitalization or increased risk of life-threatening overdose. Get emergency help if you have trouble breathing, become very drowsy with slowed or shallow breathing, feel faint, very dizzy or confused, or have a fever, stiff muscles, rash, swollen glands, or problems with your liver, kidneys, heart, or lungs. Other serious side effects may include high cholesterol, weight gain, potentially fatal high blood sugar, uncontrolled body movements which may be permanent, dizziness upon standing or falls.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor about Lybalvi. Looking for copay savings? For info, text copay to 45286.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do. Day in and day out. Making milk you can trust. With no artificial growth hormones. So you can feel good about Hood.
The Belmont Stakes from Saratoga. This is the test of the champion. June 8th on Fox.
Hey everybody, Ryan Sudol here. Thank you so much for joining us. The Boston Celtics are going back to the NBA Finals. They won the game tonight against the Indiana Pacers 105-102 in another dramatic comeback effort, down late in the fourth quarter, just like they were in the last game. To a bit of a lesser extent, though, they still came back. Three-pointer with less than a minute to go. Who got that three-pointer? You'll have to tune in at 11 over on ABC7 to find out. We'll have full highlights for you then. What a game. Now let's move on to some more news out of the basketball world. Some somber news, unfortunately. Former Celtic and one of the sport's most legendary big men, Bill Walton, has passed away. His family announcing in a statement Monday that the Hall of Fame center died after a battle with cancer. Walton, considered one of the best college players ever, three-time National Player of the Year and two-time national champion with UCLA. He later led the Portland Trail Blazers to the NBA title in 1977, winning league MVP the following year. After a stint with the Clippers, Walton was traded to the Celtics in 1985 and was a huge part of the 1986 championship team with Sixth Man of the Year honors. Walton was 71 years old. And on a personal note, of course, I, as many people of this generation did, knew him as a color commentator for college basketball on ESPN. Bill Walton was literally as weird as they come. He's got quotables for days, was so wacky every time you saw him on screen, but that is what made him so great. Rest in peace. Now let's go to the baseball diamond. Memorial Day means baseball in Winterport for Winterport Little League's annual Memorial Day celebration. It's always special, but this year they kicked it up a notch. A decades-long tradition continued Monday as Winterport Little League Baseball hosted their annual Memorial Day celebration.
We get to walk in the parades, and then we get to come here and hang out with all our friends, and then we get to play baseball. It's the funnest part of the day. Along with the action on the diamond, there were all-day concessions plus yard games for everyone to play, all part of an effort to make the event bigger and better than ever.
And I say we had success. I have a lot of gratitude. I'm very overwhelmed with the community's turnout today. Feels good.
The day was made even greater by the 1963 Winterport team that won the Waldo County Championships, reuniting 61 years after their big win.
It was nice to see everyone again and catch up, and yeah, we were hashing over some old stories.
It's just pretty cool to know that there were people that played this before you and that they're still coming out and doing what they can to support.
When you're a part of Winterport Little League, you really never leave it, and it's a huge point of pride for these former players to see the tradition lives on.
The events back in the day, there was a huge barbecue, and we would have a triple header similar to what they're having today. And it just always brought folks together. It's just nice to see that tradition stay strong. Besides bringing the community together and giving the players a chance to show their stuff, Winterport Little League hopes that the event will encourage kids to give it a try for the better of everyone.
I think Yogi Berra said it best when he said that Little League is a great sport because it keeps parents off the streets.
But above all, they hope people don't forget why we celebrate Memorial Day. Local scouts raising the flags, veterans joining the players on field in pregame, an atmosphere of remembrance and gratitude.
Well, I just think it's cool, that they all just fought for us, and we get to celebrate them today.
It's just awesome to know that there are people that would sacrifice their lives to serve for this country and this community.
Let's close out now with some more baseball. The Portland Sea Dogs, the Sox AA affiliate, are hovering around 500 right now, but they are near the tops of all of the minors in terms of talent. Baseball America magazine has the Sea Dogs as the second most talented roster in all the minors. 5 of the 6 Red Sox top prospects play for Portland, including 3 in the MLB Top 100, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, and Kyle Teel. Teel, the Sox first-round pick last year, says it's such a great opportunity to absorb the knowledge a team like this provides.
You learn something new every day from them, so just having open ears and listening to their process and seeing what they do, it can really help you become a great ball player. It just starts with knowing your strengths and really focusing on knowing what you do well and going out here every day and doing that.
Okay, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Get a great offer on the stylish Civic or HR-V and drive in the moment. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
Planet Oats, so creamy.
and not watery like.
Exactly, and unsweetened has 0 grams of sugar. And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium.
Wow, Planet Oat really has it all.
You guys are so right. No, you are.
No, you are.
No, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our stable lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Feeling from a backed up gut? Miralax works naturally with the water in your body to help you go. Free your gut and your mood will follow. For 8 grams of fiber, try Mirror Fiber Gummies.
What do heavy rain, extreme heat, and flying lumber all have in common? They're just a few of the things we use to test our replacement windows. At Renewal by Andersen, we put our windows through the worst because your home deserves the best. Renewal by Andersen Acclaim Custom Replacement Windows. Call or visit us online today to get some incredible savings. Affordable financing, too.
My name is Connie. The grandkids call me Meemaw. You can say I have a few gentlemen callers. She made the team.
And Meemaw got a date with the coach.
What? It was a productive afternoon. Young Sheldon.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22. Drive in the moment with the rugged and capable Ridgeline, Passport, and Pilot. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
This June, drop what you're doing for the Summer of Stars, because we're serving up Copa America and the Euros.
A popular dragon warrior, a cultural icon, and a country music legend are among the new digital DVD and music releases available to add to your home library. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin runs down the list of what's new in home entertainment.
It is time to take the next step.
Topping this week's list of what's new in home entertainment is the animated adventure Kung Fu Panda 4, with Jack Black and Awkwafina voicing a new adventure for Po as he takes on a shape-shifting sorceress.
Reggae is a people music.
Bob Marley, One Love, starring Kingsley Ben-Adir, centers on the Jamaican reggae legend's life between 1976 and 1978, highlighting his dedication to spreading a message of peace and unity through music.
Daddy has a dog?
Mark Wahlberg stars in Arthur the King, a true story about the bond between an adventure racer and the street dog who joins him for a world championship race.
How much time do I have?
Michael Keaton directed and stars in the thriller Knox Goes Away. He plays a hitman diagnosed with a rapid form of dementia, racing against time to save his estranged son from a vengeance-fueled mistake.
I did not kill him.
The French legal drama Anatomy of a Fall tells the story of a woman trying to prove her innocence in her husband's death. Sasquatch Sunset centers on a Bigfoot family on a journey to survive the ever-changing world around them.
I don't understand. None of it.
Russell Crowe is an ex-homicide detective suffering from memory loss and forced to solve an old case in the crime thriller Sleeping Dogs.
Beware false prophets.
Samuel L. Jackson plays a Chicago detective who travels to Scotland to investigate a series of murders similar to a case he worked on years earlier in the action thriller Damaged. For music fans, Tony, Emmy, and Grammy winner Ben Platt releases his third album, Honey Mind. Stranger Things star Maya Hawke also drops her third album, Chaos Angel. And The Border is the 75th album from country music legend Willie Nelson.
It's just the border, I guess.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, the fun didn't stop with the parades today. Following Bangor's parade, the annual Waterfront Block Party also offered a good time, free food, great music, and an opportunity for the community to gather together. Hosted by local soup kitchen and food pantry Mana, the 4-hour-long event featured 2 bands from a local chapel and resources from Stop Addiction New England.
We've got one thing in common, Memorial Day. Let's celebrate the people that went before us that made this country free, because that's what it's all about, is we're thanking our service people that didn't come home and thanking those that are still fighting for us. It's freedom, and we have freedom through our soldiers and through Jesus.
Well, the event also highlighted the group's new location at 95 Jefferson Street, which was finally established after a 2-year search for a new place. Well, finally tonight, have you ever done something dangerous just for the thrill of it? Well, that is exactly what one of our morning anchors did on Wednesday. Emma Smith takes us to Lebanon to jump out of a plane.
Physics teaches us that a free fall is when an object is falling under the sole influence of gravity. And I was that object on Wednesday at Skydive New England, when myself and busloads of MIT students took the leap and experienced a tandem free fall, hurling ourselves from a plane, falling at the average speed of 120 miles per hour.
Honestly, my mind shut off for like 15 seconds, and then when the parachute opened, we were past the clouds. Then it was just about looking at the scenery.
And it's okay for participants' minds to shut off, because the folks at Skydive New England are the pros.
We are the biggest skydiving center in all of New England, so especially in Maine. And so people come from all over to experience our facilities and the airplane that we jump out of. We have a special airplane that takes you all the way up to 14,000 or even 18,000 feet, so you can get the highest skydiving experience in the country here.
But don't let that daunt you, because you're not the one in control while falling.
It's my job to make sure we bring everyone back down to the ground safely.
What got you into the sport?
I started military back in 2008. I was a airborne paratrooper. I got out, went to culinary school, and they gave me a weekend off so I could go ahead and try civilian skydiving, and I haven't left since.
So when I got up in that plane, I knew I was in good hands. But still, it's impossible to rationalize for a first-timer like myself. It's a fall that took multiple minutes and was about 2 miles long. Crab walking from the seat of the plane with a guy named Tom strapped to my back. My heart was in my throat, head in the sky, and extremities like a hallucination. And then the fall. Tom gave me no warning. We just slipped into the wind with all its deafening glory. I had no control anymore. Tom was the one in control. And if you've ever considered taking the free fall for yourself, take some advice from a 31-year veteran of the sport.
Life goes by quick. Don't let it pass you by.
In Lebanon, I'm Emma Smith for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Oh boy, hats off to Emma. I would not be that courageous, that is for sure. Oh man. Well, that is going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, please have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day Monday safely, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow night at 10. Good night, everyone.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
Hey, it's Vince with Sham.
Cuomo's got Carol Burnett, Nicholas Galitzine, and music from Christian Nadal. Later.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning.